Oh, hello. So swIDch is a London-based company. It was founded in December 2018 at the invitation of the UK government's Department for International Trade and the Department for Culture, Media and Sport. It's backed by the RBS NatWest Entrepreneur Program and the Financial Conduct Authority. And our first client, Doku, is an Indonesian e-payment gateway among the top 5 in that country.
SSenStone is a Korean company. Our revenue increased from $0.5 million to $2.2 million in just 4 years. We have over 130 patents granted or pending. We were awarded at many different startup competitions, and we had a citation from Korean Prime Minister.
So swIDch is the London-based subsidiary, SSenStone is the Korean parent, but together they act as a global entity together. And we're here today to talk to you about a common problem you may have encountered.
I want to buy half-price woman's bag, and I found one I like online. Now, I'm going to put my card details online to buy it.
Little does she know that I've taken over the payment gateway and have stolen her card details, and soon her sweet, sweet money.
Oh no! I was debited $300 with 19 transactions in just 10 minutes. And I'm abroad at the moment, and I can't even reissue my card right away.
As we can see, static identity has a huge problem. It's very easy to steal, and that's why we think dynamic identity is the way forward, and that's why it's time to switch. So authentication with a user ID and password is the most familiar form of authentication, but it's insecure, as we've just seen. It's also difficult to remember. RSA keys somewhat solve this problem by creating a dynamic key which cannot be reproduced and faked, but it cannot be used to identify a user. Tokenization, which is the common solution for payments, can identify a user and is dynamic, but requires a two-way communication to work. So what we would really like is a system that is that is dynamic, that is one-way and can identify a user. That system is swIDch.
So, how can we keep your wallet safe? We got rid of all the information on your card. There is no card number, no expiry date, and no CVV number. Then how can you make a payment online? You will have dynamic one-time card number generated from your own device each time you pay online. These numbers are generated without any network connection, and there is no possibility of duplication. There's no need to change the current infrastructure because it is just like having a networkless tokenization service. That means it can also be used for a networkless digital card.
But it's not just for payments. So, for example, know your customer is a common problem. Banks need to identify their customers in order to perform certain tasks. So your bank might call you and say, "Hello, this is your bank. I need to ask you a number of intrusive and personal questions to check that it's you."
But how do I know you're my bank?
How dare you? Well, very well. You might as well phone me back.
Then I have to phone back and perform the full ID checks by telling my name, my address, my phone number, and by answering some security questions, which will take me around 15 minutes. So, how can we make this process easier and safer?
Well, wouldn't it be much better if your bank called you instead and said, "Hello, this is your bank. Please, can I have your dynamic code?"
Of course, here is my 16-digit number. Easy.
And it's not just for payments and these sorts of situations. For example, Internet of Things is legendarily bad security. This protocol can be used for that, for example, to allow drones to be communicated with securely. What if you need to identify yourself in a public place on an AI speaker? You can use a dynamic code, thus not speaking aloud any credential that could be stolen. And this can be used for government ID. As we all know, identity theft is a huge problem. If identities are not static, they can't be stolen.
Our business model is API-driven. So we provide the technology and we license it out to many different sectors. In the payment industry alone, $4 billion is spent to issue new cards. By using our authentication technology, the savings will be huge.
swIDch is the future of authentication. Simple and secure authentication with swIDch.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Judges.
Don't you think is it too complicated to type every time is different card number?
So normally, one-time card number you can generate, but that's optional. So if you want to use it for one-off payment, you are willing to type 16-digit numbers. But for card on file, for example, your trusted website, like Amazon or eBay or something that you trust, you can generate one-time dynamic code just for the Amazon website, and another dynamic code just for other different websites. So it will be just saved for that website for the sake of, so that you don't have to type every time.
At the same time, it'll be aliased, which means you can stop it at any time. And of course, you can set it to have a delay to time it out. So for example, if you want to use a 30-day trial, you can have it set so that it will switch itself off at the end of 30 days.
Looking at the one-time credit card market, this has been around since 2016. There's a lot of competitors in the space, privacy.com among others. How are you differentiating yourself from the competition?
The main difference is that we can operate offline. So current tokenization systems require a two-way connection in order to operate because you need to communicate with the server to get a new card number. This algorithmically generates a card number that is unique to you and is secure and authenticates you, but it doesn't require a network connection to operate. That's our differentiating factor.
And it is, at the same time, it is safer because if you use the network, that means hackers can hack your information. But because we got rid of this process, hackers cannot hack your information and use it for the payment.
Any more questions?
So looking at digital trust, this is a conversation recently in New York that's been up with Finos and the financial open source. A lot of banks are talking about digital trust. What conversations have you been having with banks, as you described, to start partnering on digital trust?
So our R&D center is based in Korea, and we have our business headquarters in London. And we're currently on NatWest Bank Accelerator program. So we share the office with them. So obviously they are very interested in what we're doing. And we've been having conversations with any other European and American banks. They are looking at us very positively. And we do have our client, which is like one of the largest payment gateway, which has just adopted our technology to use for their payment authentication.
In terms of offline transaction, I think you are one of the first ones, and then I guess some other competitors will catch up in the future. So I think the success will be depending on initial partners you are working with. But in the future, for the scaling up, are you considering some financial services like credit card services or?
So our business model is API driven. So it's up to our clients if they are going to make what kind of final product. So we just like to grow as a technology company, developing new technology for the next generation, and we will leave the product with the client.
And as we said, it's not purely a financial technology, it's an authentication technology. So we see other opportunities for this as well.
That's all the time we have. Thank you so much.
Thank you
very much.